welcome back to Sunset Cooking. Today we're looking at seasoning pans. This is something that you'll definitely want to do when you first get a new powder pan, but also something that you want to do over the years to kind of help with the durability, non-stick factor that we're always looking for, but also clean up in the end. So when we're seasoning a pan, what we're basically doing is heating that pan up, allowing the pores to get opened up, and adding a thin layer of oil to it. So this is what allows it to help it from rusting, especially with like cast irons, but also with just the non-stick factor where you're kind of getting that extra little bit of layer to help your foods from sticking. So as I said, what we're doing is heating it up. So what we're actually going to do, you take a little bit of oil. You want to use something with a higher flash point. Something like peanut oil is always good. Today I'm just using vegetable oil because that's what I have. But it's any of these tend to be a little bit cheaper, and it's something that, as I talked about with the flash points, is when you do heat your pans up super hot, they're not going to burn, and it's not going to mess up the flavors of your food. So what we do is actually, as you can see here, just applying a bunch of oil to the pan. The inside is the only thing that really matters. I suppose you can do the outside to kind of help create that coating so food doesn't really stick, but this tends to be the most essential parts, the inside. So once your whole thing's coated, you have two ways of heating it up. First off, you can use your stovetop. That tends to be what I use just because if you're doing one pan like this, heating everything up, it does it a lot quicker and you tend to get a little bit more control. You are also able to bake these in the oven. You want to use a pretty high heat, so then the whole mass of the pan is getting heated up, and it allows the oils to thoroughly get soaked into the pan. So as I mentioned, we'll just set it on the stove here. I'm not going to go all the way to high, but a medium-high heat's what you're going to want to do. And after this, you kind of sit and wait. So if you are getting a whole new set of pans, this can be something that you can, in my case, do 4 at a time and kind of rotate through, making sure that they're all getting taken care of. Or if you're baking them, same thing, you can put multiples in there at the same time and take care of it. So as I mentioned, it tends to be cast iron or stainless are the ones that were most commonly to be seasoned. Cast iron is very essential to do, just the way that they're made, the way that the metal is designed, because it's not something that can really hold up to water or anything like that. Stainless, you have a little bit more durability, but this is still helping with those other factors of the non-stick, but also making sure your food cleans out a lot easier, but also adding those extra flavors. Alright, so one of the first steps too, before you get started with this whole seasoning thing, is you will want to wash the thing out. This is the time that you can use some soapy water there to get any of those extra dirt, the grime. A lot of times when packaging and storing, there tends to be a little bit more of a waxy, oily kind of finish on the pan, so you definitely want to get that off. This allows it to get the best benefits, but also you're not going to have to worry about eating any of the wax or oils from chipping and stuff. If you do have waterless cookware or anything very high polished stainless, those tend to not be something that you do have to season, mainly because of the high polished surface, but also those tend to be ones that you'll throw in the dishwasher or hand wash with soaps and stuff a lot more, so it kind of negates the need for ever doing that. So as I mentioned, this is something that you want to do throughout the years, depending on how often you use it, maybe every 6 months, every year or so, just to kind of build up that coating, and as the seasoning applies, gives you that extra flavor that's kind of built up with the foods that you're using, but also just the way that the pan works, it kind of helps. So when you have a 20-year-old cast iron pan, that's one of the best things you can have properly taken care of. It's one of the best things in the world. So I am going to cover this more in another video, but you are going to want to, when cleaning your pans, usually once you're done with your food, you can, depending on what it is, kind of just wipe it out with either like a paper towel or rag, maybe rinse it out a little bit first. But you want to keep away from soaps or the dishwasher as much as possible. What's happening basically when you're using those soaps is you're just pulling those oils right back out of it. So this whole process that we're doing right now is completely worthless. if you are worried about the sanitation factor, I don't really think it's a big deal. You always want to preheat your pans before you cook, so that kills off any of those extra germs that could somehow still be on a pretty polished surface like this. But with that oil, it kind of helps create a layer that germs and bacteria can't get into. Alright, perfect. As you can see that there's starting to smoke, this is part of that flash point factor, so depending on what oils you're using will depend on how hot it can really get. But since I had it pretty hot and it's not a super thick pan, as you see, it went pretty quickly. So once it's done, you're able to now wipe out that extra bit of coating. You can let it cool down just a little bit so you're not burning your fingers. But this is a way to, now that those pores of the pot kind of opened up and that oil got soaked inside the thin layer there. Well, besides that, I'm just going to wipe this out here. Alright, so as we're wiping this out, I probably put a little bit too much oil in there, but we wanted to make sure that it was all covered. So I'm using that paper towel because it helps with having to avoid dirtying up rags and stuff. But for this demonstration here, we are just going to finish using this rag. So you should notice a bit of a difference too. It's going to have a little bit more of a shine to it. And if I were to add water in there, you'd almost kind of see it beading up. Alright, once we get it all wiped out, your pan's done. As you see, pretty quick process, pretty easy. Something that, once it cools, I'll be able to store this like I normally do. But as I mentioned, something that you do want to do every once in a while. Make sure you get the most use out of your pans, along with the durability of them. And if you ever do put soap and stuff in there, put a lot of hot water in there, this is something, again, you want to do right afterwards to reseal it, re-season it, and give you the best use of your pans. Alright, well, until next time, this is Sense of Cooking.